There we go. Now we're live.
Yay! Hi everyone. So here we are back with the Hearts of Change Collective, and our special guest today is Adam Wislick. Aha! He is the Black Swamp Medium. His musical name is Adam Hawkins. And so, Adam, can you give us a brief introduction of who you are and what you are all about? What do you do, Adam?
Well, thank you so much, ladies. It's great to be with you this evening. Obviously part of the thing is the mediumship and music. So I've kind of incorporated both, passions into what I do. I mean, obviously I still have a day job and things like that, even though it's kind of, mostly training right now and working from home. But yeah, I'm a late bloomer in this whole spiritual world thing. And what basically happened was that I took some classes and really started opening up doors, and then, bing, bang, boom, now it's like, this is kind of my thing. So, but yeah, I do mediumship, I do remote viewing, I do healing, I do, a lot of paranormal stuff. That's like one of my main staples for the most part, but I do a lot of paranormal cases, a lot of cleansing. So, whether it's attachments, whether it's just, funky gunk that's stuck on you, I'll clear that off. And
funky gunk, Adam.
Yeah. So, that's how I usually say when I'm gonna do a cleanse or a healing or something. I mean, I kind of look at you and I change my vision when I'm working with somebody, and it's, to me it comes up as like a black tar and this like just kind of funky looking sticky stuff. So I just kind of scrape it off,
That's what I see. That's like funky gunk. Go ahead.
Yeah, but that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I mean, I do a little minor dream interpretations. That's something I've been kind of working on. And then another thing I'm going to work on a little bit more is I didn't get a chance to get deep into it, but I want to do rune casting a little bit. And then I do a weird variation of tarot reading. So I don't do like a traditional where I drop in all kinds of cards and things like that. So I do a different thing that I kind of like, I got accustomed to it, and it's fun, and it still kind of comes out, and it's actually pretty amazing in the end.
Would you say it's like intuitive tarot instead of traditional?
That would make sense. Yeah, that would be more like it, because I mean, I look at the card and then I just kind of read it with the person. So, and then usually I'll do a follow-up card to kind of validate what's going on with them. So it's really, one, to be legit, and then two, to kind of back it. So
very cool.
Yeah. That's it in a nutshell,
That's the Reader's Digest version.
That's right.
Yes.
So what, Adam, what's the weirdest thing when you went to do the ghost stuff? What's the weirdest thing you came across?
Oh my God. Well, I mean, the probably the weirdest right now is because of the location. So I'm on a team, we're called SWPI, Spirit World Paranormal Investigations. And we're kind of spread out over a good chunk of southeastern Michigan and things, but we host public and private investigations at the Old Mill and Museum in Dundee, and that's in Michigan for anybody that's watching out of state. But it obviously this year is a little weird because things have been a little kind of closed and we haven't been able to get back. But the neat thing is in the basement. So this is a pretty large museum. So half of the building is a museum side, and then the other half is a banquet hall. And in the banquet hall, there's also a basement over there. Well, the basement, obviously, everybody kind of gets creeped out in most basements, but ours is unique because there's a couple resident spirits down there. One of them, after a while, became known as my girlfriend, even though I'm married.
But I've heard a little of this. This is fascinating. Yeah.
Does your wife tell us?
No, she's pretty good about it. She's just as long as things don't go weird, because we could get into the whole incubus succubus kind of thing, but that's another story. But no, the resident female, her name's Marie, and she always comes over and she kind of grabs onto my left arm, and I always kind of contributed to the fact that relationships, you kind of have where you put your wedding rings on your left finger and stuff. So I've always kind of had that where she's always just clung to my left arm, and how I know it is not just that I can feel pressure, but it actually feels like you take an ice pack and put it on your arm.
Wow.
So you truly feel not only, a little bit of an arm pinch, a hand grabbing your arm, but you feel this cold pressure over my bicep and elbow area.
Wow.
So it's probably the weirdest. I mean, yeah, I
That's-
mean, I've had haunted, like I've had some really dark things, but that's probably the coolest one, you know, where every time I go there and I'm in the basement, within 10, 15 minutes, she comes over, she grabs onto my arm. We've taken photos. I have a photo of her where it's not, you can't see her, but she's in a color form. So she's
Oh.
kind of, you could see this green circular motion around my arm.
Oh wow.
Ooh, that's
Did you ask her any questions? Did she
Oh.
talk to you?
Yeah, well, it was weird was that we were doing a public investigation, and it was a large group of ladies. I mean, all different ages and stuff. And so they're all, you know, mostly brand new. You know, of course, they've seen some of the shows and stuff. But you know, they wanted to go along. And typically, when we're doing, you know, public and private, I mean, I say what I do, but I don't sit there and then, you know, this isn't for me to sit there and put on a show. You know, I don't. You know, it's their night. They paid to be there, so I want them to have the most fun. I mean, so, but they encouraged me to go with them, and then they said, "Oh, you know, do the mediumships. We've never seen, you know, how this works in person." I'm like, you know, and so I'm kind of like, because you know, I don't want it to be a show. It's not supposed to be a show. It's just supposed to be natural. And but I just said okay. And so when I opened up, it was the first time I ever seen her after a couple of years of being there already, and she just came forward and. You know, she's got a little bit of the backstory. I do not have her last name yet. That's the one thing I'm kind of slowly working at. But she is a little, she was a little off mentally in life. She, you know, I could see her, you know, head to toe, describe her, you know,
Ooh.
very young, mid-30s. She was abused in the mental, you know, facility that she was at, and which is how she ended up passing, because she was only in her late 30s when she went.
Wow.
But so it was kind of sad. But I mean, but she's just always clung to me, and she's given me information about other things that are going on at the old mill, and she's just been a sweetheart. And so I've been trying to use her as that little bit of just kind of getting little bits of information on the other side, because you know, a lot of times when we do paranormal stuff, you ask a question, and it's especially, well, you know, what's it like being dead, you know, or what's it like over it, you know, they just shut down, and
I'm dead.
yeah, and they just shut down, and then you don't get anything. So I've been trying to take the time over the years just to kind of really get that relationship as part of being an investigator. You know, you're trying things and seeing what else we can get, you know, information, because you know that's what the whole point of paranormal research is. What's the answers that we all are searching for?
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
So can you tell them about because you were on an episode. Do you want to talk about your episode?
Sure.
Can you have-
Yeah. Last year, well, I mean, last year I was filmed for a show called Paranormal Survivor, and essentially it was one of the cases that I worked on back in 2014, I think it was. It was started in the fall of 2014. But the show was Paranormal Survivor. It's season 5, episode 5, called Bringing Ghost In. The client basically reached out to our founder of our team, Donna, and was just having issues and just needed some help. And so I couldn't get there physically because of just the schedule wise. So what I said I'd do is I would remote in to the home and see what I can do. And back in 2014, when I was still new to doing the remote viewing, I said, well, let's just see what's going on. I'll get some information and then we'll go from there. Got the guy's name, everything that happened to him in life, you know, why he was doing what he was doing, and then had a little discussion with him, just saying, you know, you need to chill because he was affecting the client's daughter was almost a teenager at the time. She was like 11, 12. And I was just like, you can't be messing with her. You can't be messing with the client, you know, the mom. That just doesn't fly. You know, they'll live with you as long as you leave them alone. And so that was the stipulation. It was just be cool and leave them alone. Didn't leave them alone. So after about a month or so, they, you know, started causing havoc again, and then they started getting worse. I went again, and this time I really got into his face a little bit and was just like, you are going to cut this out, because if I come back one more time, you're done and you're gone. And sure enough, that was December, and started in November, December, and then about February, March of 2015, he finally was just like, he scared the living daylights out of the young girl, the daughter, and so bad that he hit her so many times that she had marks up and down her back.
Oh, no.
And so I went back a third time, and I mean, I was pissed. I mean, with a few other words thrown in there, but I was so upset that it was one of those things that when you see the show, they kind of do the recreation a little weird. It's not, there was bits and pieces, like they made it seem like I was in the house. I never was ever physically in the house. I did everything remotely, but I truly did confront him. I did, basically it was a ghost on ghost kind of fight, which was kind of neat because the only thing was he couldn't grab me, which they make it in the show because it's entertainment. We were kind of struggling back and forth, but I physically, I grabbed him spiritually, threw him against the wall. We knocked over boxes, which all the homeowner, everybody upstairs could hear all the commotion in the basement, which they didn't say that in the show, which I wish they would have. But
That's cool.
But we really physically made like I knocked over boxes, tackling this guy and shoving him against the wall. But got him against the wall, and I said, "You're done." So I mean, basically, I do my process of removal, got him out of there, and took him way long away, and so he's kind of like in a purgatory state right now. And but yeah, it's interesting to watch the show because like I said, they do an entertainment thing, so there's a lot of things that are like what, but they kind of make you like ooh,
Yeah.
So but that's the long version of it, because I was there 3 times. They made it seem like walked in there once and that was it, and it's like nope, it took months to really get through this case. But they were, once I got rid of them, the homeowners, were, lived for years. In fact, they actually moved finally just because of financial issues, but they moved at the beginning of this year. But up until they left, everything was being calm, and it's been years now. So that was my episode, which was cool.
Have you ever felt your life in danger when you're doing an investigation?
Not my life in danger as far as being affected by another, strong spirit. Yeah, I've had my run-ins with a couple times where you after a while you just believe in the protection that's around you, believe your guides and watching out for you. And this one Native American spirit, ironically, was really hammering me, and so it got to the point where I felt like my head was gonna completely implode, because it just felt like he was crushing it, pushing my head in. And it hurt so much, it was like a migraine. And I remember that was the first time I ever walked out of an investigation just to clear, which I stood outside in like 50-degree weather with no coat on, short sleeves, and it was cold. I mean, 50 is not bad, but it was cool, and I didn't even notice the temperature at all. And even when I came back in, I was kind of flush, I didn't look so good. And it still took another hour or so before I finally felt decent again. But I went back and dealt with them again, so I didn't let them get away with it. But yeah, that was probably the most intense it's ever been. I mean, I've had spirits and things coming after me, especially ones that are elementals and other kind of wild looking things that aren't necessary.
Do you think the elementals are really one of the nastiest ones, or which ones do you think?
I mean, the only thing I won't do, and I've never come across, and I'll thank my lucky stars, is when you a true 100% legit, demonic style case, that's the one that all hell's breaking loose. I mean, the things are just completely insane. The majority of the time, I mean, and those type of cases are less than 3%. I mean, that's total. I've heard it's so rare, and I've been doing this since 2012. Actively, and I've never come across anything that other than just a cranky spirit, is how we look at it. So there's a lot of people that say they have, demons and demonic case, it's a demonic, thing. And I'm like, you go in there and it's not, it's just a cranky spirit just wanting to get attention. So, but yeah, I mean, elementals can be tricky. So I think because my background when I started this journey, was that I learned from, it was passed down from Native Americans. So I have more of that shamanic style. So everything is based off of the land, the energy of the earth. And so I think that's why the elementals I have run across, they don't give me crap. It's a nice way to put it. Because I just know that, you're not going to get at me, because I already know what I can do to get back at them, essentially, is a way to put it. But Yeah. So, I mean, but they can be. I definitely, Bonnie, to be exact. I mean, there's people that have dealt with elementals, and it ranks up there because they are just they're non-human. We don't really know where they've come from, and they just can be nasty at what they do. I mean, in various things affecting you. I came across one last summer at an outdoor facility, you know, that was a park and campgrounds and stuff, and he was nasty and he was bothering people, but I had a long chat with him like I like to do. And we kind of made things peaceful. And so he makes himself presence known, but he doesn't bother anybody to the point of where they're going down with issues, health issues, and messing up equipment, you know, at the location. So,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Like they mess with people because they're pissed at humans for the way humans have treated the planet, because that's my understanding. Is that what you kind of gather?
That's pretty much it. He, like the one last summer, he truly was mad at because of the fact that he, you know, the people that were, you know, there, now they're trying to make the place better. The place is run down, so they're cleaning it up. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the stuff they're doing is for the benefit of just making the place, you know, look good. So I don't blame the people that are there. They're not doing things to damage anything, but that's the conversation was that, you know, hey, be cool. They're not trying, they don't want to bother you. They don't want you to bother them. Mm-hmm. You guys can commingle. It's no big deal. You can still do whatever you want to do, but just leave them alone. They don't want to get rid of you. They're fine with you being there. Mm-hmm. So, but yes, totally. They would love they love to be able to kind of, they're like protectors of the land. I guess that's kind of a way to look at it, even though they're things they do can be a little nasty, you know what I mean? Because they just go from like 0 to 10 in a heartbeat. It's like, boom, I'm just going to be like, I'm like, okay, take it easy.
It's like cornering a bear or something.
Pretty much. Yeah. Like a mama bear.
Yeah.
So Adam, what got you started with everything?
You know, growing up, one of the cool things was, you know, through the 80s and stuff like that, you know, the early documentaries in paranormal were fascinating to me. You know, I mean, they were really primitive and, you know, there was just so much unknowns. And so anytime there was something on TV, which, you know, was rare, but when there was, it was always like, I was totally into it. Fast forward, you know, out of the 80s and then finally into the 2000s, you know, all that stuff started resurfacing again. And the ghost shows started coming on. And, you know, it was like, man, that is so cool. And, you know, when you're watching all the ghost hunting shows and especially the early ones, you know, you start seeing mediums show up and I'm like, well, that's kind of cool. I mean, and I was like, you know, maybe I'll get into this at some point. You know, I don't know how, I don't know where, because, you know, in early 2000, it wasn't really, you know, the one show was there, but nothing else was really available. One thing I enjoyed growing up was camping, and I always enjoyed the fact that, you know, I did the Cub Scout, Boy Scout thing, and so living off the land. And this will make sense in a second, but I wanted to get back into the outdoor lifestyle. I was being drawn back to the land. I don't know why, but I was, mostly because I enjoyed the outdoors. I didn't realize, you know, what Mother Nature and stuff was doing for me while I was out there, but the TV show Survivor, I think we all, you know that one is, you know, that triggered something. It's like, oh my gosh, you know, I mean, you did some of that in Boy Scouts, but that was always like, be prepared. So that way you're never in it. But what happens if you don't have anything? So I found a school, because I live in Ohio. I found a school out of Cleveland called Midwest Native Skills, and they do outdoor survival classes. And I'm like, how cool would this be? So I had my wife and I, because we were just freshly married, and we signed up. And so we went in 2005, the summer of 2005. Before we arrived at the class, I was looking through the other classes that he holds. And one of them stood out. It was called Shamanic Journeys 1 and Shamanic Journeys 2. And you read the description of it, which you could still see today if you go there. It's like, it's weird. It's like talking to your guides and learning, you know, if you need help, you can reach out to them. And, you know, it just started fascinating me. And I'm like, well, this is weird. So I remember in the middle of the week during the class, I'm like, the instructor's name's Tom. I said, so what's the Shamanic Journeys class? And he kind of gives me this, you know, kind of grin thing. And I'm like, because he's like, wasn't ready for it, but it was something I needed to look into. And so sure enough, he was having classes that fall. And so I took shamanic 1, and then a month or 2 later, I took shamanic 2. So I was like knocking them out because I just got totally into it. I mean, it was the coolest class ever. Learning to talk to your guides, meeting them, and then from end of 2005 all the way up until 2012, that's all I lived every day was just meditation, talking to them, asking for advice, all these things that I learned in class. I was just constantly doing that. And it just kept building up. So fast forward back, to 2012 when I started seeing ghost hunting stuff again. The musician side, my dad was a musician too, or is. He was playing a gig, a concert. It was more ethnic music for at the old mill, and they had a flyer that said, "Hey, we do ghost hunts here." So Sunday morning, my dad's calling me up. He goes, "We gotta go." So we sign up, and we end up going, in April of 2012, and we just had a blast. I mean, we had an absolute blast. And so that started that. When I met the team, which now I'm part of, they had a medium on the team, and she, saw that I was really interested. I'm like, I want to open that door. And she goes, go ahead and go through kind of a questionnaire thing, which I do for people that want to go down that path, especially if you're going to open that door. I was serious. I wanted to do it because I knew my calling was to help people. And so sure enough, she took me under her wing, and I just started doing exercises. She started giving me things. There were variations to the stuff I already did. They were just taking it a step further. And so now, I started doing readings. I started doing investigations with them, and, tag teaming with her. And we were just like, this is what I'm getting. Well, that's what you're getting. Man, that fits together perfectly. And from there, it just started becoming a thing where I started taking over because she was doing trying to make so much, her job was doing readings. So she does like one of those online things where they call her and she does constantly, so I kind of filled in and just started taking over. So I'm kind of like the team's lead medium, and been having a blast ever since. So
cool.
That's cool.
So we have a couple of questions from Bobby. And Bobby and Adam, I'm going to direct these at you because you're the guest. How can you fight something you can't see is the first question. I'll let you answer that first, and I'll get to the next one.
And that's the thing is when you can't, okay. The perfect way to explain this is that, let's say, your home is haunted and for whatever speak, I'll come in there, and I'll remove the ghost. No problem. I can do that every day, all day long. I can remove a spirit constantly. That's not a problem. That's easy for me. And that's not just being an egotistical person. That's just because I know what I'm doing, and I'm just confident what I'm doing. I'll get rid of it. But the thing is, I have to sit there and kind of switch gears with my clients. So for her, like Bobby, like if she was having issues, I would have to then kind of almost be like a psychologist in a way, a counselor. I have to then retrain them of how they're going to be at home moving forward. Because if you're still going to live in fear of what is going to happen, it's like opening that door right back up again and them coming in. And it won't be the same thing. It'll be something new. And I can't say it's going to be something friendly, and I can't say it's going to be, it could easily be something nasty. But unless I could get the clients to start thinking, take control of yourself. Now, I'm not saying you're going to get angry, because that's another bad thing to do. But I always tell people, a firm, stern voice. This is my home. There is nobody else allowed here except for me and my family. And if you're religious, you can add a lot of faith into it. And I try to let them, build their prayer up, as I like to call it. So that way it's somewhat as theirs. I mean, I'll give them hints of what to say, but I also want them to add their own things. And I want them to say it every time, in the morning and at night. And then if by chance you think you might hear something or feel something, you say it again. And when you constantly keep doing this repetitive thing, which I've always said in the past is intention. If your intention is you don't want anything in your home again, it'll be so. But you have to be consistent enough to where you are taking a stand for yourself. Because I always tell people, if you don't know me, you didn't know this face, and I just walked in your front door, what are you going to say? Get out.
Wow.
Period. And that's just that first little thing is I want people to have that kind of thing. I know they've been scared. I know they've been dealing with that. They could be getting hurt and things. I totally get that. But I don't just, when I get done with something, I'm constantly hitting them up every few days or every day, making sure they're staying with things and working with them. And if I need to come back in again, I will, so it's not a one and done deal. I work with people for months, or years, where at least I stay in contact with them to make sure that they're always, feeling the peace and that they wanted all along. So yeah, like I said, the main thing is just, you have to take a stand for yourself. So even if you can't see them, then as long as you take a stand. So even now, if you stand up, this is my home, nothing else is allowed to be here, and do that every day, even if it's just once a day, you're going to finally build up that kind of protectional field in your home. And I think that's a neat thing, because you're doing it. You don't have to be completely religious. You don't have to have, all these different things, but just taking a simple stand for yourself.
That's great. Thank you. So her next question, and I think this is a good one, because I think a lot of people aren't sure about this. So I thought it was a good question. She's got what?
You're there.
Can you guys see it? Good.
Yeah.
That was weird. My Zoom app just disappeared randomly. Like it.
Oh,
You're still on my screen.
you're still there.
That was weird.
Yeah.
She said, is it safe for us to sage? Can you sage your own house?
Oh, absolutely. I do it. I've gotten to the point where I do mine about every 6 months. So, and if you feel the need to do it, I mean, there's a lot of people that do it every day, and there's nothing wrong with that. And you don't have to have a set written prayer for that. You could be just as simple as just like, I just want to, cleanse my home. I want all negative energies to leave. And you can keep it simple, or you can make it something long and drawn out to every room you go through. So, like I said, I've gotten to the point where, my home is such a fortress of spiritual light for many reasons that, that's why I don't have to do it all the time, even though it is nice to kind of light that up a little bit, and makes me feel a little good inside.
Yeah.
I know that feeling. I do it
Yep.
every 6 months too, unless I feel like someone's been in the house, or I've, maybe watched something on TV that I maybe shouldn't have watched or something.
Yep.
Like a ghosty show that maybe had something not so friendly in it.
Right.
I'll usually do it in the spring, like it's a part of my spring cleaning, and in the fall.
That's exactly me too. That's the same thing. That's perfect, because you do want to open the windows up. It's not good to keep them closed. Plus, if you are getting rid of any negative energy, it's kind of in a mental state. It's neat to say the window's open, so it's leaving through an open source, if you will. But it's nice to kind of do that. Plus, it can get a little smoky if you don't ventilate to some degree. So,
Yes.
But yep.
Unless you like that sort of thing.
True. It's true.
Okay, she's got one other question. And I think all of us could field this one, because I think we all are familiar with this. But it says, what if you're an empath and feel pain for no reason? So Adam, why don't you start with this one?
Well, I'm assuming if she's an empath and she's feeling pain, there's got to be something nearby, whether, if it's not somebody, a family member, then there's most likely that there could be a spirit of some sort that's trying to get a message across. And maybe that's what they were experiencing. Maybe that was how they passed, or they're just trying to get her attention so that way they can provide some other information to them. But yeah, I mean, that's probably a good ballpark for me. If anybody else has got something.
I can talk. One of the things that I noticed with my background of being a medical intuitive is I can feel other people's pains and problems and stuff. So like Adam was saying, sometimes it could be from a person. Sometimes it can be from a spirit, because I've seen, in what I do, I see spirits that walk along with people sometimes. And then also it can be negative entities sometimes that do make you feel kind of crappy. So those are some of the things that I see. And I feel like if people learn how to work with their own energy field, they can also do some things to help alleviate some of those things, such as shining your light, learning how to work with your own auric field, things like that. Those are kind of some of the things that I teach people. How about you, Bonnie?
I think the same thing. it's just being an empath. You know, it could be a family member. It could be even be your animal that just being sad. I mean, so I mean, it's just a whole different things. So what you have to do is check in and ask yourself, is this my feeling?
Yep.
And then when you figure out that it's not yours, that's when you decide to let it go. Just pass it on. Or if it is a family member, then see if you can help whoever it is that's having the problem. Same with the spirit. You can see what it is they need if you are empathic, and also if you can speak to spirit. So yeah.
I would second those emotions. Second that emotion. Anyway, and I think too, especially if it's a spirit, when you know it's not yours, some people like to jump to the conclusion that, oh, this person, this entity wants me to feel bad. And that's not usually the case. For me, I found that it's often a form of communication. Like, I want to let you know how I'm feeling because I want your help. And so I'm going to put upon you how I feel so that you can try to help me. Do you guys concur with that, that aspect?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then if it's people around you, is like Bonnie was, like you were saying, Bonnie, if I know it's not mine and I can go, okay, I feel angry or I feel sadness or whatever, but I know this isn't mine because nothing, like, I'm good, I'm golden. Then you can try to pinpoint whose it is, if it's someone in your vicinity. And the benefit to me of being an empath is that it allows you to put yourself in their position literally, because you're literally feeling what they're feeling. And then you can say, now how then would they want to be approached based on what emotions they're feeling? So you have greater knowledge of how to communicate with them and be there for them and meet their needs, because you know what their needs are, because you're feeling their feelings.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say too, Adam, I do a lot of house cleansings also, but I do them probably not too far off from what you do, honestly. But I talk to the spirits and all kinds of stuff like that. And I go in and I just make sure that I'm very conscientious of who is there, what it is, what needs to be done. I'll start getting, like, for me, I'll start getting information like right when I book them. Okay, I need to, so sometimes it is more Native American based, and I need to actually, and I haven't been really trained on that kind of stuff. So I just say, what do I need to do? My guides guide me through it. So I will definitely just kind of go in and they'll be like, okay, there was one specific one. They're like, you need to get sage from your yard. You need to get lavender from your yard. My personal yard that I grew has to be that. Then, they're like, okay, then you need to do this, that, this, that. Another thing that I wanted to say too, for me, is when I'm doing these house cleansings, a lot of the time, the people that are there in spirit, if they're the ornery ones, they'll tell me the stories that they went through in their life. So they'll sit there and they'll be like, I'll just sit down and I'll say, okay, one specific one, I sat on the bed and I just said, okay, tell me your story. And he's like, people were, I had a hard time because of this, that, tell me the life story a little bit. And then I go, okay, but what I'll do most of the time is I'll call in the angels and I'll help them get to the light if I can. I do that a lot. So I do that an awful lot. But there's just so many different things it can be. And so those are a little bit of the explanations on how I kind of go through stuff. I just kind of let my guides help me figure out what it is that needs to be done and make sure you don't step on any toes in the process.
Yeah, I mean, your guides are really specific. Like, they've told you not to wear makeup and everything else before.
I did, yeah. They told me that they wouldn't recognize me with makeup on. As a matter of fact, I could not wear makeup to one of them. It was really, I was like, seriously? Like, okay, I'm gonna look like crap for this. I didn't wear makeup, but and that's okay. But it was amazing because it did the job. And the spirits actually, and there were very specific things that they wanted them to do to put things back the way they were. And they did them and it worked really well. So those are the things that you have to just listen. You have to say, okay, what is it that we can do to help here? Because sometimes you're just working with spirits that have been there for thousands of years, and they had it a specific way and they wanted to stay that way energetically.
Well, sometimes
they were, like Adam said, they were protecting that place in the first place.
Sometimes it's not even a ghost, it's a poltergeist, when like you might have a teenager who has mood swings and she's just miserable or he's just miserable, and it's just wreaking havoc through the house, and it's just energy. It has nothing to do with a ghost. So I mean, yeah.
That's true.
Mhm.
So Bobby then says, it may sound weird, but I can feel pain and then I get cold for hours. So I know what that sounds like to me, but I would like to hear from you guys what that sounds like.
Adam, you want to go?
I don't want to go first either.
Yeah, I know.
That's why I passed it on. Cause
Gosh, this is the first time we've ever had a Stalin.
Well, I mean, and even then I'm sitting there like, okay, okay, go, hurry, give me something.
I'll go. If you're I know what I want to say. I just didn't want to be the first one to say it. So for me, in my experience, when there's a pain followed by cold, to me, cold is low vibrational energy. When there's a low vibrational energy in my vicinity or attached to me, I am freezing. And it's not like an environmental cold, it's like an inside out cold. Mm-hmm. And unless I banish that energy or entity, I'm going to stay cold. And to me, the pain is, how shall I say, the best way I can describe it is like the moment of entry or the moment of attachment when the entity is attaching to me. And it could be almost like an energetic, how do I describe it? Almost like a piercing. Mm-hmm. And then when I get cold, it's like, oh, duly noted. I know what this is. Okay, so that wasn't good news, and that's why I was like, I want to go first. So.
Yeah.
No, but it does make sense. But it does make sense because you're right. I mean, there's a lot of times that people do report, even that aren't really sensitive or empathic, that do say that they're cold all the time, and that they're always feeling like they're having to bundle up or they're having to really put extra layers on or more extra blankets on at night. And so that does kind of come up. So yeah, it makes sense that there is something there, because I mean, in the paranormal, there's so many times where it could be like right now, you could go outside, it's warm, and then all of a sudden even though there's a breeze, but it doesn't like really cool you off, but yet you feel like a cold spot. So you either got a massive barometer dropping to where there's a storm coming, or there's some type of energy that's taking that heat and they're using it for themselves to whatever they're going to show next or do. So that I definitely would back that she's probably dealing with a little something that she's going to have to put up a couple little walls.
Yep, and make it go bye-bye.
Right.
Yeah, because
all of us can help you with that, so don't worry about that, Bob.
Right. And one thing that you have to remember, though, is that you are in charge of your own space. And so all you have to do is say you can't be here, and they can't be here. They have to go. Or you can't attach to me. They have to go. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, but send them to the light, because you don't want them going to the neighbor's house,
Very important. Very important.
Yeah. So Margaret says, what about feeling totally exhausted, but you haven't done anything to feel that way? Well, I'm going to start that off right now. We're all going through these mass ascension. We're all just exhausted. Everybody's exhausted no matter what we're doing. So that always doesn't mean something specific, like some scary thing attached to you. So I'm just going to put that out there, because my husband, everybody's been just exhausted.
Yeah. It's just your body trying to adjust to the higher energies. And it's just, sometimes you just have to sleep when you're tired. That's it. Mm-hmm. And try to eat good and drink lots of water.
Yep.
But they're all.
That's totally, I mean, that makes, so much sense, because, I mean, I've had my struggles. I mean, it's weird is that, when this all started with the quarantine and things like that, in March, for the first few weeks, it wasn't so bad. It was just adjusting to, for me, working from home, which is really just doing training constantly. But, over, the course of April and things, there was obviously shifts going on, and it was, you go down and it's like, why do I feel so crappy? And whether it was being tired or I just don't have the energy. And it's like, that just didn't make any sense anymore. Cause I'm like, and then start asking others, I'm like, are you going through this? I'm having headaches all week. And I mean, I don't usually have headaches all the time. And then everybody's like, well, yeah, me too. And I'm like, oh, so there's something bigger going on. Now it's starting to make sense.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, there were a few days, especially this it was last week, wasn't it, you guys? And I was like, I'm so tired. I couldn't even do the live. I was just exhausted. And the day before, this is TMI, but I find it hilarious. I'm going to say it anyway. But I was sitting on the toilet, as you do, and I'm dinking on my phone because, what else am I going to be doing, right? So I was so tired. I kept going, thinking. And then finally I dropped my phone on my toes. I fell asleep so hard I dropped my phone. I was like, this is a sign to literally get my ass off the toilet. So that's why the next day I'd worked all day, and then I'd worked in the morning, and then I ran errands and came home and was supposed to go live, and I was just I was like, I'm sorry, you guys. I can't do it. It was awful. And before that, though, wasn't I saying to you guys that I was exhausted and I kept feeling like a high energy in my chest? And then Bobby, you were just saying that.
I'm getting it on my ears, on my crown and ears, and down, and then down to my chest. It's really weird. It's a weird fuzzy, like all the nerves in my ears are prickling.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's really weird.
I'll have some.
Yeah, you can. I'll send it your way.
Pass that upgrade over to me. I want to be on. Turn me up to an 11. If anybody gets that reference.
I got one this morning when I was first about to start working with my first client today, and I just felt this energy came up and go, woo, and I'm like, yeah, it was like the white light.
Yay!
And it's funny, that's how I had like a weird, like, it was all before I even had, I usually drink a couple of cups of coffee in the morning and stuff. And even before I had my first cup yesterday, I mean, I was dealing with all kinds of stress all week. So and it was stuff that, I knew about it. So there wasn't a whole lot I could do, but some of it I was keeping it too much that were pulling me down. But it was like, whatever. But it was funny was when one of them got all wrapped up on Sunday morning, I woke up and I was like, let's go. How's the day working? And I put a post up on my Medium page, about it. I was just like, man, I'm zinging. This is great. I haven't even had a cup of coffee. And I'm like, let's go. And that was cool. I mean, it was so neat to finally get, a lot of that off my back. But then it was like, all right.
Right back.
Yeah.
If you could bottle that for the days when it comes right back. Nice.
I gotta say too, one of the things too is when everything started too, I could, like I've talked about this before, but just being around people, I can feel their energies and their fear and stuff like that, and it wears on you after a while too. Mm-hmm. So being empathic, part of what we do, because we're in other people's energy fields and feeling their energies and stuff like that and helping them with that. But just being around people just in general in society lately has been a little tougher.
Yeah, I would say even just the collective energy is just, God, because the fear is being drummed up so much that the hope and the joy and the faith and the trust is kind of starting to going to the wayside. And it's like, no, you guys, bring it back to center. Keep your focus, everyone. Keep your focus. Don't allow, it's challenging, because especially if you can feel what everybody else is feeling, it's like, and then you have to work that much harder to get yourself to where you need to be, because you're busy feeling what everybody else is feeling. I'll shut up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
no, but that's perfect, because that's exactly like how, I make a mistake where I'm thinking, I'm feeling pretty good today. I'm just going to scroll through Facebook.
Mistake.
No, I don't want to read that. Oh, I read that crap. And then I start feeling worse. And then I read another one and I just start diving, and I'm like, why did I do that? And then I'm like, okay, and then I just got to stop, and then I'll like, play like some type of mind game, to where it's just like completely get away from it. Or what, another thing that like last week with all the stress, what I was weird was that it was so bad that I would start feeling pressure in the head, and I'm like, this sucks. And so I'd go walk outside, even just 2 minutes, everything would clear out. And I'm like,
Yeah.
hello, Mother Nature. Thank you.
Yes.
You know, I just thank everybody. Okay, appreciate it. I go back in. I'd probably be good for about a half an hour, and then all of a sudden I start feeling it again. I'm like, "Argh."
Aren't
Go
you
back
about ready
outside.
to, aren't you about ready to pitch a tent and just stay outside forever?
If I, you know, that's the thing is, you know, but then I'm going to be a little bit of a diva where it's like, well, I got air conditioning. So if I don't have to be outside that long, I'm not going to be. I'm going to be for the air conditioning because I like warm weather. I just don't like the sweat. So if I got AC, I'm going to stay inside a little bit more, but I will go out in like the mornings and late evenings to try to, you know, still experience and do my thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I was
So,
doing a session, and when I was doing a session on someone, and I was going through that thing with my ears, and all of a sudden it felt like it was going way out like this, and I was like, oh my God. I had to go outside, and I literally was hugging a tree, got my feet, bare feet, and it took about a half hour for me to straighten out, but I was trying to talk normal to this poor client to the end, and I don't know what he thought. I just hope, he seemed to be okay, so I guess that's all that mattered.
Bonnie's doing a little drinking behind the scenes.
Yeah. And all I can think of, Bonnie, with you saying I was trying to talk normal, and I'm thinking, then how was she talking?
I was
know what it was like.
good thing the person knows me and knows I don't talk like that.
Were you sounding a little bit like this?
And
Oh, man.
Denise said that's Mother Earth clearing you. That is very sure. That is so true. And it only takes a couple minutes just so I did the same thing earlier, and I was like, I gotta get out, you know, and I just went outside and I was like, ooh, much better. Just a couple minutes, just bringing up that energy.
Yeah.
And it's just
out there.
surrendering. It's
I
just
was out
that as soon as you know, like that's why it worked so fast for me, was just I was completely opening and surrendering and
That's
just saying,
what I was doing.
go for it. Just go, you know, bring it out, take all the crap out, give me something good here, you know.
I was out there just breathing and trying to release it, and my husband goes, "What are you doing?" Just go away. It'll pass.
I love tree hugging. It's true.
But it works.
Especially if you got a mossy covered, it does work. And if you got a mossy covered one, you can just get your cheek right in there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I joke, but I'm not kidding.
Well, a couple weeks ago, I was it was you know, there was some rain that was supposed to be, you know, showing up and stuff like that, and I remember going out. My neighbor out of my backyard was out, and I was like, oh, I want to go talk to him about something real quick. So I went out, and I'll just at least put sandals on, because I got, you know, I have trees that, you know, they break off branches and then they get broken, and then I'm just like, I like to be barefoot, but I don't like stepping on branches because it kind of hurts. So, but I just went out anyway without the shoes on, and you know, and I love doing grounding stuff. But I went out there, and we were out there for a good 45 minutes to an hour, and it didn't even dawn on me until I went back in that I realized, I'm like, why am I buzzing so much? And then it was like, you were barefoot the whole time, son. And I'm like, oh, that's right. I was grounding and didn't even know I was doing it. I feel pretty good. And I had trouble falling asleep because I was buzzing.
Well, do you realize when they started wearing tennis shoes, wearing the rubber on the bottoms of the feet instead of the leather, is when you got disconnected unless you take your shoes off, for sure. Yeah.
Big time. Yep. And I know, and maybe some of the viewers are going to kick out of this because, like, you know, grounding is so great, and you know, you should always do it, even at, you know, for 15 minutes. Just go out there, sit with your feet in the grass, whatever. Just get your feet down. But I do it in the winter as well, to a certain temperature. But I love doing snow walks. So I usually go out, and if you guys will ever see them on Facebook and stuff, I'll shoot live videos where I'll go and I'll walk through the snow with bare feet, and everybody's like, "You're crazy," and I'm like, yeah, but I've built up enough to where I know what mind over matter is. I understand it's cold, but I've chose not to acknowledge the fact that it's cold. So I walk through there, I let the grounding still happen, and when I come back in, I feel like $1 million. But the cool thing is I would have never done that until a guide was saying, go outside and snow walk. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Go out. I'm like, okay. So, and I practiced a lot of, you know, temperature control stuff. So I went out there after a good snowfall, and I was walking through the snow, and I'm like, that was the biggest high I've ever had. That first time doing it, I mean, my feet felt like they were like flying. I mean, for hours and hours that night when I did it, it was the most amazing thing. And I've had a few people, you know, that are not empaths, they're not sensitive, but I've seen them shooting videos of themselves. I'm like, damn you, Adam, for making me go out there and do this.
But you know, you're getting the earth energy and the water energy, you know, from the snow. That's just got to be amazing. Like cleansing, all of it.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, it is, you know, I don't tell people, I don't like say, go do it. You should try it. I don't really promote it. I mean, I want people to kind of go through a process of where they're used to, you know, working with your mind, working with your guides, so that way you can adjust to that. Because, you know, anybody could go out and walk in the snow real quick, but what do? They go out, run real fast, and then run back in. Well, no, go out there and stand there. Go out there and walk a few, you know, stand out there for 10, 15 minutes and see how different that is. That's hard if you're not used to the control.
I gotta hand it to you because we have a hot tub out back, and you know I live in Michigan, so I'm always going out there and walking through the snow barefoot to get in the hot tub because it's a pain to put some flip-flops on. So I just walk out there quick, but I don't think I could stand there in it for 10 minutes because it hurts after a few.
Yeah. Yep. I get it. Yeah. But I will not do it once it starts to get into like the low teens and stuff. The snow starts to feel like nails. And it's weird, and it's fun to be able to learn that too as you're doing these over the years. But it's weird. The colder it gets, it's just not, you know, fluffy anymore. It just really feels like a bunch of broken glass or nails just all sticking in your feet. So it doesn't get much fun at that point. So that's why between like, you know, 20s and mid 30s is usually a good window to do it in.
I've got a grounding mat for the winter, but what I read is that, and this irked me so much, but I read that grounding mats actually draw Wi-Fi and other electromagnetic frequencies to it, because that's the nature of what Earth does. Is it takes these things and it grounds them out. So I was like, well, son of a but you know, that was the whole point. But I started setting my Wi-Fi on a timer so that it goes off at a certain time of night and it comes back on a certain time in the morning, so I get that like Wi-Fi break. And then now I can sleep on the grounding mat. And so like in the winter when I'm not like, good on you, Adam, for walking in the snow. Yeah. But ain't no way I'm going to do that. So I'm using my grounding mat. And I would like to get some, but I don't know why they're hideously expensive, but leather soled moccasins too. Oh yeah. That'd be cool. So there is that. Sure. I don't have your Wi-Fi on with the grounding anything.
That's true.
That's great. I mean, you know, and that's the thing is you have to do what you can do. You find out what works for you. Like I said, I don't recommend that everybody go out there and do, you know, walking in the snow. I mean, you know, if you want to just go put your feet in it just to feel the excitement, but at the same time to really let go, to really surrender to it, you know, just like in the summer. I mean, it's just all a mental thing that you're doing, and what your intention is. Are you letting go of whatever is on you or in you? And you know, that's all I do. It's just a mental check. But I've spent a lot of time working with, like I said, the control of things. And it's not like a, you know, a bad way of putting it. Like I don't control everything in my life, but it's just that if you are in a situation where you need to like endure. So if it's super hot and you need to, you know, don't want to, you know, obviously dehydrate or get heat exhaustion, all that stuff, you're going to have to figure out how to mentally switch it to buy you some time. So that way you can finally get that relief when you can, or the other way around. If it's freezing cold outside, you know, and you're kind of in a situation, you got to work it out, because there's a lot of situations where the mental thing is work for people that even not even in our field, but like a lot of sailors and fishermen and stuff that have been like in the you know, the Arctic seas and stuff like that have fallen in, and they survive somehow. And how do they survive for hours when it's usually within a matter of minutes before they pass because of the hypothermia situation? So there's a lot going on up here that if you're a fighter, you'll get through those situations.
Proof of the power of your consciousness.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's way more powerful than what you think, you know?
Yeah. And I agree, Adam, that we're not supposed to be in control of everything, but we are designed to use our consciousness to be able to, make adjustments like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
All right, you guys go ahead.
And
Well,
heal ourselves. And heal ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. But I was gonna say, when you go out in the rain, when you're not feeling good, and just walking in the rain and letting it clear your aura, clear your, it just clears your mind. It's just wonderful. So try doing that sometime when you need a clearing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, that is, I do that anytime I can get a chance to. Obviously, I don't do it when it's thunderstorming, but sprinkles, light rain, anything. I mean, I try to do the same thing. And it's weird as everybody's like, oh, it's gonna be like a Wicked Witch thing, I'm melting, but I'm like, no, use your head, think of it differently. And I always talk to Mother Earth, just like when I'm telling her to send some energy into me, from the ground up, but at the same time, like, I wash it off of me, take everything that's on, even externally, really get it off me. And so I talk about it when I do that. And I that's something that I haven't finished it, but I started a video for YouTube, which I've been kind of slow this year, but I always want to talk about the whole rain thing, because a lot of people always put this negative spin on it. And it bothers me to no end that, why does everybody sit there and put a negative spin? Oh, it's going to rain today. Well, I guess I'm stuck indoors. And you just start talking weird, and then you're acting weird. And I'm like, no. And I always, like, when it rains, thunderstorms, I make the day as best as it could be, because it, I let that's a good thing. You want it to do those things. You need to have that happen. So I'm still trying to put a video together to where I talk about that, and that it's important to let it do that and to use that for your advantage.
So, Denise Murray.
It's Denise.
I know. I just thought she's got both. It's obviously a shared account. Anyway, grounding mats is not connecting with the earth and elements. To me, it's just like polishing rocks. It takes away the natural energy. This is just my way. This is true. But in the dead of winter, if you think I'm going to go walking barefoot in 15-degree weather, that's not happening. I'm using a grounding mat. In the summer, in the spring, in the fall, absolutely, I'm going to go out in the elements and put my feet on the earth. But in the dead of winter, grounding mat.
Yep.
So yeah, and Denise,
I'll take my polished rocks.
But I mean, but there's other ways, like you could drink water, or have the intention to breathing red energy down your body, and doing a meditation where you're connecting to the earth, like the roots of a tree. I mean, there's other ways too for people, but yeah, I get it.
Or they can connect with any of us, and we could do a little magic with them.
Yeah.
yes.
Bonnie, like you were just saying with the light, that's probably my energetic grounding when I can't be outside is my favorite way to ground, because the physical grounding and just energetic grounding, it's sort of like one's working on more your energetic level, and the other one's working more on your physical level, and they're both necessary. So if you can't get outside and to do physical grounding, you can do energetic grounding with the bringing down of the light, especially like you were saying, Bonnie, you could use brown, you can use red, because brown can be like your Earth Star chakra, which is the chakra that's like 4 feet below. It's an uncommon chakra. A lot of people don't know about it, but it's about 4 feet below your feet in the earth. And so like if you're in an airplane, you're ungrounded because you're so far away from your Earth Star chakra, and you start kind of feeling a little because of that. But even, if you use that color, for some people it's gray, for some people it's black, but you set the intention that you're connecting to your Earth Star chakra and bringing light down into it, boy, does that do a number for grounding.
Another thing that really helps too is to have plants in the house too in the wintertime. Have natural energy from plants,
Yep. And crystals.
And crystals.
Lord, I got buttloads of those. I'm so it's stupid. Like my guides were like, don't bring earth energy up, pull energy down and go down. You need to get up because they're so high vibrational, and I'm so earth, I'm so grounded. They're like, no, just down. So I don't need a lot of grounding, because I'm already like clinging tightly to the planet energetically. They're like, get up there.
And I'm up in a hot air balloon constantly.
I know, we're like, Kathy, come back to Earth.
I know, yeah.
That's That's why my healing room is like off the charts with energy because, you know, and Bonnie taught me well. We go up and down
We're always up in the higher, yeah.
I like it there. I have
I
to
do
tell you,
too.
I have to say it because I live in Hickory too. Denise just said, too funny, I'm just a Hickory hillbilly, haha. I am too. And I'm barefoot in Hickory all the time.
And Wendy says, I love the rain. There is a certain kind of rain. I don't even know how to describe it, but it's like a warm summer rain and it's kind of heavy, but it's like being in a shower. It's got that kind of smell too, that like ozone-y, I don't know.
I love that ozone, yeah.
That's the rain that I'm like, oh yeah. And you just want to go out, and that's the best shower rain ever. It's so good.
Yeah.
And this is so random and off the topic, but I noticed that when I would go out in the rain, my hair would be extra soft and it would dry.
Yeah.
Totally random thought, but it just popped in there, so I said it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really good stuff.
It's the natural cleanse. It's the natural cleanse.
Yes.
You know, you didn't need shampoo. You didn't need it manufactured. It just poured right down, cleaned it, scrubbed it clean. You're good to go.
Yep. What are you saying, Kathy?
Oh, I don't know, but that just made me laugh.
That was the point. So
I wanted to go, I need conditioner. Other my hair's a rat's nest in the back of my head, so
This lawnmower guy going back and forth, so I keep hitting the mute, you guys. So yeah.
So Adam, do you guys? Well, I know that I don't have any specific shows coming up right now because of everything that's been going on, and we've been doing the lives, doing these lives instead of doing a big show, and I think it's kind of more fun because it's not so long. And do you have anything coming up that you're doing, like paranormal stuff?
I do. Well, actually, this Saturday I'm doing an event. It's outdoor, so obviously, you know, there's distancing and stuff that's being. But I'm actually switching. I'm changing hats, and I'm going to be doing music for a women's retreat. So, a lot of like-minded spiritual ladies like yourselves. They're all getting together. It's down here. It's about a half an hour southeast of me. And they are, you know, it's a whole day thing. They're doing like 8 hours. So they're doing all kinds of cool. There's a couple presentations, and there's also several different styles of meditations. I'm one of them where I'm going to perform for 45 minutes while the two head ladies, they're going to do a lot of Reiki to the guests. While I'm performing, they're going to go up to everybody and do that. So, yeah, so that's what I'm doing Saturday. So that's kind of like my first like big thing in a while. A lot of other stuff's been canceled. There's some stuff coming up, but yeah. Yes, Jen.
Talk about your music. Talk about your meditation.
Okay. I saw the little hand poking. I'm like, I do. So you know, like I said, the other name I go under is Adam Hawkins. So I mean, if you're a downloader, you can go to all the major download sites. So you look up Adam Hawkins. The name of the CD is First Flight. Let the Journey Begin. And it's almost like 50 minutes long. It essentially, the way I wrote it, the way I performed it, and the way I arranged it, you know, came down to it's a journey. Now, all three of you can listen to it, and you might have, each of you could go whatever you want it to do for you. So I didn't want it to be like it's just meant to be for people to raise their vibration. I wanted it to be whatever you truly need it to be. So I mean, I've had people use it for sleep disorders. I've had people use it for addictions. I've had it, you know, people just needed it to, you know, get the stress from a bad day, you know, to play. So when you listen to it from top to bottom, it really is a journey. And I set it to where, you know, I start off on some higher flutes, you know, and then I slowly take you down to some deeper flutes to where you're really getting mellow by the end. And then I kind of pick you up just a little bit, but it's all Native American flute. It's just that. I don't put anything else with it. So you're really just listening to Native American flute. I did a few lives during the quarantine stuff. So I did one in April, and I did another one, I think in late May or early June, I think it was. But so if you guys go to my Adam the Black Swamp Medium Facebook page and kind of scroll down a little bit, you'll find them. But they were hour long, but I played for about 45 minutes. So chit chat a little bit in the beginning, and then just a tiny bit at the end. But So you can always go back and watch those. I still have people, you know, checking and commenting on it because it was really, you know, moving for them. But yeah, that's the, like I said in the beginning, it's neat because I've been able to tie that in. And I originally was just always, it's like one hat does this, one hat does this. And so I've been trying to kind of find ways to blend them together. So I did one of my first gallery readings I ever did with my other, I do a show on Tuesdays with my friend Debbie. The first gallery we did together as a tandem, I said, well, let's do this. I being told that, you know, guided to, let me play music for 15 minutes and set the tone. Because obviously, you know, anybody that does readings or you work with somebody, we all know what the clients are feeling like when we're sitting down with them. It's like, okay, let's calm down a little bit. So that was the whole thought process, was before, you know, that being a gallery reading, I did this music, and it did. I mean, you had all this energy that was way up here and you brought it down just a little bit to where it's like, okay, we can all kind of now make sense of each other a little bit easier. So yeah, I've been working on kind of blending that in with the mediumship and music together.
Well, it's almost like, because it's whatever your intention is what the healing is. So
Right.
it's like light language. That's pretty much what you do. Whatever you intend, that's what it does. And that's pretty amazing. Yeah.
And it's fun. I really enjoy it. I mean, I want to get another CD out there because everybody's been asking for it. And it's just been tough. I mean, the straight mediumship stuff and paranormal stuff, it's just been so hardcore and so much that it's, you know, I've been all over the place doing things, and I just haven't had enough time, because when I recorded the only CD, you know, I started in like June, and I think I finished it in the fall because was working maybe once a month. I'd go to my friend's studio to record. So, you know, you do 2-3 songs, but those 2-3 songs ended up being like, you know, 5 to 7 takes. And sometimes I would change it because something would call to me saying, well, no, let's change that melody or change that, you know, chorus part or verse and stuff. So I would change things on the fly as I was recording and stuff. So one song could end up being technically like 5 to 7 songs, really. So I think in the end, I had like 70 or 80 tracks that were recorded for just one CD.
I could see why the paranormal stuff is busy too, because as the energies rise, they got to go somewhere. They can't stay. You know, they're trying to find their way. And so places that'll get more and more, you know, you'll have more and more show themselves because they're trying to find their way.
All I can think of is Ghostbusters.
I know, like with them flying all over.
And I love the, like, see the dead rise from the grave. I love that movie.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Definitely light language music is what you're doing, Adam.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
It is. And I want to talk about that, Adam, because remember when we were up at Buckley last year, that's where I met Adam. And I got to talk about this because it was just the coolest thing. Like, he was playing his flute music for a meditation, and I was actually still doing a session on somebody.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And his music, I mean, it actually opened me up psychically some more, because I could literally see the light language coming in. It looked like light language. I could see it coming in as I was doing her healing. So his music, his flute music was literally, I could see the energy going into her energy system. It was amazing. Like, I'd never seen that before. So I could see it in my head, like inside my head, in my third eye. So it was just amazing. And it's all healing, definitely healing music. So and you can get it on, I know I'm old fashioned, but I have it on my iTunes. But iTunes has it.
iTunes, Amazon,
can they find it?
Amazon, Google Play. You know, if you're not really into that and do Spotify, you can get it there and listen to them there. So Spotify has it, and there might be another one or two that are a little bit more lesser known. But when I signed up to it, you know, it just basically dishes it out to all the major sites that are out there. So most people know all the common ones, whether it's, you know, iTunes, Amazon, or Google Play. You know, those are usually the big three.
Yeah, and it's called Adam Hawkins' First Flight.
First Flight, Let the Journey Begin.
Yes, I was close.
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
All right.
Yeah, that's a good time. I mean, I still enjoy it. I mean, I still play, and you know, obviously, and you know, again, even for me, when I do like this weekend, I mean, yeah, it's gonna be hot because we're gonna be outside, but even during that, you know, as much as, you know, I'm focusing on what I'm doing, and, you know, I'm kind of concentrating, but at the same time, you know, I'm letting all this other energy come in. You know, I'm letting, you know, one thing that's interesting is that when us, you know, people that play the Native American style flutes, you know, really we're just the one putting the air in it. A lot of times, you know, we're letting other spirits come in and direct us, because one thing that people don't realize, some do, some don't, that when I do shows, when I do like a meditation show, I don't know what I'm going to play. I don't sit there and rehearse a specific song. I go there and I read everybody's energy and see what I feel the overall need is. And then that's what happens. So when I play, like if you guys go and watch, anybody goes back and watches the 2 lives I did, all those songs that I did, I had no idea what it was going to be until I picked up the flute. When the flute says, this is the flute you're going next, I pick it up and I play. Whatever it was meant to be was meant to be. And that's what I think I enjoy the most, is that I'm just putting the air in it. I'm letting everything else come through me to, you know, make it sing.
Do you have a video? Do you have a videotape of you playing?
Yeah, well, like if you go to the Medium page, it's there. There's been some others, but I don't have like copies like myself. I mean, other people have recorded me playing and stuff, but you know, if you go to at least the meditation ones on my Medium page, you know, you'll see a good thing. Cause I mean, I'm sitting here, you know, actually in this area, except just a little, I open up the walls more, but you know, I'm standing there and I'm playing to the camera and things like that. So you get a good idea. Plus you can feel it. Cause I know the last one I did, well, the first one I did in April, I got so emotional over it. Like I was so taken back when I got done. I was standing way back from the camera, but like I had tears rolling down my face and I couldn't understand what was going on, but it was just such a beautiful moment that, I mean, I was choked up. I mean, I couldn't say things, and some people notice that they're just like, you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm great. But it was just so much that I was letting out, but so much I was getting back, but then just knowing that everybody else was receiving it well, it was a really amazing.
When a person plays an instrument that uses the breath like that, you're moving energy and you're moving out things that you don't need. I mean,
Yep.
Anytime you use the breath, you're releasing and you're moving things. And then with spirit coming in and showing that loving touch, that has to be the most amazing feeling ever.
There's times that when I'm playing, there's a couple flutes that and I put them usually in the middle towards the end. There's a couple flutes that when I am playing it, I zone out. I really truly don't know what I'm doing anymore, because I'm completely in the moment and I don't I mean, everything is like, I'm like out of it. And I could feel the flute physically shaking, even though it doesn't look like it when you're standing in front of me, but it's vibrating so much that it's almost like I can't hold on to it anymore. It's so powerful when that happens, when I do the meditation shows. So
That's amazing.
It gets interesting on some of those. And I love when I get to do a meditation show. I mean, I do, you know, several different styles of stuff, but I mean, the one that is fun too is I do kind of a historical show where I do, you know, I talk about the history of the Native American flute, but I also do end it. So it's like about an hour and a half to 2 hours, but I end it with a meditation. So that way everybody still kind of gets a little something out of it. But, you know.
So if we figure out, because we're trying to figure out how we can have music on here, eventually we will.
Yeah.
Would you play for us one day?
Yeah. Because I know you probably can't do, I don't think you could do the recorded stuff because of all the copyrights and stuff. Facebook and things like that kind of tear you up when you do that in the background. But if it's live, it's different, because, you know, it's not like when I play my stuff, that's the reason why it can stick around, because I'm not doing something that's recorded, you know, other than Facebook doing it. But yeah, we can easily do that.
You did it. Well, he does it online, but mine's through Zoom. I don't know. Every time I've tried to do drumming and stuff for my journeys for people, it doesn't come through for them. And it actually stops when I do that. But if I play like light music, they can hear it most of the time. So it's been kind of hard for me because, but I don't know.
It's the setup. I mean, like when I did the flute shows through Facebook, you know, I basically, you know, I have a little mixer that has a USB. So I do my microphone goes into a mixer. It then goes into the laptop, which then I have to set it in the settings. to pick up the microphone. So I have a little bit of a spaghetti mess in a way when I do that stuff, but it does come out, and that's something we could do offline, is we can always test it. You can fire up something privately and we can always do it that way. And I'm sure I can do this. I can get the laptop to do it, because I don't think I can plug the microphone stuff up into the phone, because I'm using my cell phone right now. But I can probably use my laptop to do it, and that would easily, pick up everything for you.
We'll figure it out. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Yeah, we really need to, so people can show us their gifts, because we would have put you on the spot.
Yeah.
if we could have been able to do it.
Yeah.
Hey, Adam. Hey, no, I'm kidding. So Jenny Voss, first of all, hi Jenny, thank you for watching. She's a friend of mine. She says, hello, beautiful souls. I was wondering what we can do to raise our vibration and find peace during these challenging times of unrest and this global pandemic. So for me, I don't watch the news.
Nope.
Step one, I limit my social media exposure. I do not engage in divisive behavior. I don't give opportunities for people to behave in divisive behavior with me. And if they do, they're gone. I just, no tolerance. And then I think for me also, I listen to uplifting music. Like, I actually have an uplifting sound, playlist. I watch shows that are, I'm a Gaia TV addict, so I'll watch Gaia TV. Do you guys know what Gaia TV is?
Yes.
I call it Weirdo TV. Oh,
yeah, it is Weirdo TV.
I don't, yeah.
Oh,
okay.
So I have it. So I'll watch some spiritual weirdo stuff, which I love. It's my favorite. Or I'll watch something that makes me laugh, like a comedy. Anything that'll make me laugh is good. And so just kind of not letting your mind worry about what's going on. Just be like, everything's in divine order. We're good. We just got to get through this. It's not to say don't be aware of what's going on. Sorry if you could hear that really loud motorcycle. Just don't be aware enough to make whatever decisions you need to make in terms of how you're gonna respond. How shall I say? What decisions you're gonna make? That's how I want to say that. Mm-hmm. But then go back to thinking in the garden, or go for a walk, or anything that is not that.
Meditate,
Yeah,
read a book. I mean, go into
uplifting book.
Yeah, positive. Yeah, just forget about. I mean, you do have to know a little bit about it, but after you know about it, then it's not going to help you to just dwell on it. You know what I mean? So just find other things that make you happy. Do something creative. Some people are cooking, some people are creating or painting, or even playing music. I've been just keeping busy with doing healings, and stuff like that. So, and hanging out with you guys. So I mean, hang out with a positive friend, that makes it fun,
Yeah, I mean, and learn something. I mean, there's a lot of different things that you can take classes on, whether it's something new now, or learn from something that was maybe recorded from in the past or something, or get books that are going to teach you something. I mean, there's a lot of cool things. And you think about it, when you're so focused on something that intrigues you, you're going to be really knee deep in it. So you're going to be wanting to, get to the end of it, or whatever, or get the class over with, and experiment and try things and learn it, or because everything else is exactly spot on. So I mean, like I said, there's a couple things I still want to do. I am trying to write a book, so I mean, I got to get myself back in gear again to get that book done. So that's going to explain a lot of things that have been, how I got started in a really super detailed format. But yeah, I mean, if there's anything out there that you want to do or learn, go for it, because that way it does distract you. And I'm guilty. We said at the beginning, I'm guilty of looking at stuff and getting too far, and then it takes me down, and then I got to sit there and build myself back up out of it, So, I mean, yeah, you have to kind of peek at news, because, sometimes it is important, but yeah, you just don't want to get too far in there because it takes you down and then you're in miserable
Yeah,
mood.
you don't want to watch it so long that your energy level drops all the way down
Yeah.
to zero.
Yeah.
You know.
One of the things too that that Spirit's telling me to say is so many times I'm telling people lately when I'm doing sessions with them, and it's not just finding your joy, it's finding, it's like rekindling things that you like to do, you know, like some kind of dancing, you know, like today that one came up, like doing like a chakra dance, something to move your body because our energy gets stuck in certain parts of our body. And that was one that came up for me today for somebody, you know, to move and to get back into some kind of a dance, you know, something to move your body. I do a lot of like long distance bike riding. That makes me, I live by Gull Lake, so I go right around Gull Lake. It's beautiful, you know, it's absolutely beautiful. And I just sit and I breathe in the energy from the water. That's what I do. I just go by the water and I'm like, oh, there you are, you know, and that helps me just connect, even driving by water, whatever, just connect with nature. Go out for nature walks. That's a really good thing. Take your dog for a walk, play with your dog, do the stuff that, take that time instead of, and I have, you know, I think we're all guilty of getting on Facebook too much or whatever, turn it off for a bit. And I've had to definitely do that. I've had to definitely do that a lot lately. I haven't been able to. I stopped watching the news years ago. Mm-hmm. And I noticed, actually, somebody asked me one time, how is your vibration so high? I said, because I don't watch the news. I don't watch that stuff. I don't get stuck into it. But you know, sometimes you kind of do get drugged back into it. But I just wanted to say that, like, move your body. Like you said, Jen, go for a walk. You guys all had great ideas. So I didn't have too many, but move your body. And
the guy's mowing the lawn, so now my nose is all itchy. I'm sitting on my porch if anybody doesn't know that.
Me too.
Yay.
What you're saying, Kathy, about moving, that's even, especially right now with astrologically things that are going on, needing to move your body to get energy through is particularly important right now. And drinking water is always important, but it's like there's a lot going through. So I'm up to about 4 liters a day of my water now. Normally I'm 3, so it's a lot. Yoga is good.
Yes.
I crank up my stereo sometimes and put on, you know, some kind of dance music and, you know, dance alone in my living room because I'm me. But
yeah.
I like dancing.
It works.
So it does.
But it works.
It's fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything like that.
You like to dance to the 70s. I like to dance to the 80s.
I like 80s, but I can't
and
dance
90s
as well to the 80s. So I can dance to 70s and I can dance to like house music, like modern house.
Yeah.
The other thing.
And
if I have a partner, I can ballroom. If I have a partner.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that about you. That's
my
cool.
dad taught me. So.
Aww.
Yeah.
So I'll make it even more fun. And you gotta now take the long hair and take the beard away before you stereotype me. Okay. This is for all the viewers. So, you know, like I said, I do the relaxation music. That's, you know, that does me great. That helps others. Perfect. But sometimes I got to get back to my metal roots. So I got to sit there and do a little bit of headbanging.
Yeah.
Honestly,
that's how my sister Penny is. She's got a headbang, and I'm sitting there going, "Oh my God, can you put on something else?"
I mean, even that. I listen to all. That's the one cool thing is that I'm not stuck on one genre. I mean, I took some music theory classes in high school, and that completely I'll listen to pretty much every single thing that's ever been recorded music wise, and it's cool. You know, I'll find something that I can enjoy with it. So, I mean, I go through spats of different things. You know, do I have certain things I like a little bit more? Sure. But even then, it just depends on what's calling to me. So if I feel like, you know, I just need to, you know, bob the head a little bit, well, I'll put some metal on, you know. If I, you know, feel I want to connect a little bit more, you know, whether it be some folk or country, you know, something like that. But yeah, it all varies. I mean, even then, I do a lot of kind of blended stuff with ethnic music where I have Scandinavian in me a little bit. And so I found where they're taking, you know, traditional instruments and they're kind of mixing with modern instrumentation. So it's this cool little blend and it's still relaxing, but, you know, still kind of has this kind of haunting thing to it, but yet you feel good afterwards. So I got a lot of things, musically that I'll just go to when it feels right.
Yeah, I like a lot of different music too, but not when you're trying to relax, the headbang and stuff. Just like,
hey, that's the thing. Whatever works for everybody. I mean, it's not going to work for one person, but if it works for me, like I said, one day I need it, and the next day I don't. So
yeah.
You know what I found is I like reggae a lot and Hawaiian music. When I went to Hawaii, it was amazing. I never really listened to Hawaiian music, but it's beautiful. And as a matter of fact, when I'm doing like mundane stuff, I'll just put that on, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. Very relaxing and really uplifting, as a matter of fact. Yeah. Oh, the other thing you can do is work with crystals. This is actually my Sedona red rock. Amazing. That's the one thing that really helps me. Yeah, you got to come feel this in person one of these days. It's amazing. The person who gave that to me, I think, was really angelic walking on the earth. I'm just going to put it that way. But that was amazing, because I would never have taken red rock, but he stopped me and gave it to me in Sedona. That was amazing. But
beautiful.
Yeah, wearing crystals is helpful. Yes. So like this is rose quartz. Rose quartz is like for love. And when I've been at like old jobs or whatever where I was very, very stressed out, I would wear my rose quartz, and it would just give me that feeling of calmness, because it feels amazing, feels loving. And when you need that little bit, or I had a place where I worked at that had very, very low vibration. And so I don't know if I have it right here. I don't think I have it right here. I had some like black tourmaline that I put around my neck. And I remember I was actually kind of being psychically attacked. I didn't know what to do with it back then, but by a spirit there. And when I put that on, it just went boom. It kind of went away. That really helped me for that time, because I didn't know what to do yet. Now I know better, but I know what to do. But those are some things that really will help you raise your vibration too. Wearing, like quartz crystals, all different kinds of crystals.
Even if you don't want to wear them, just put them in your pocket. Wear them.
Yes.
Put them in your pocket.
That's kind of what I do. I mean, when I'm out in public and things, I mean, when I'm home, it's different. But when I'm out in public, I mean, I got some stuff in the pockets. I got all kinds of different ones, and I've got a good variety in the pockets. So I'm good for whatever I'm looking for or needing help on.
Yes, and if I can't wear it, like if I'm at work and I can't have a pendant, dangling in my face, and I can't wear my rings, and I don't want to have my pockets jammed because I've got to, do some lifting, I'll put them in a pouch, like, just one of those little silk or cotton or, whatever it is. There's little pouches that tie shut, and I'll tie it to my belt loop.
Oh, that's a good idea too.
Yeah.
A little medicine bag, but yeah. Berries. Yep.
A lot of women put them in their bras.
Yeah.
That's true.
Hard.
They fall out for me.
I can't. Yeah.
Adam, how about you?
Yeah, I mean,
I can relate.
I don't really have anything holding stuff. I mean,
Adam, Wendy, my friend Wendy says, Adam, Metallica, I also do some Beethoven. I love classic rock.
Yeah. Yep.
That's awesome. Too. I like classic rock, but it's not high up there. But you give me some Mozart or Beethoven. Oh.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean,
I love oldies. Motown.
Mozart was my favorite composer. Like, he was the number one. So I'll listen to Mozart all the time. So yeah.
Yep. Same. I got hooked on him when I watched the movie Amadeus. My dad was in the play as a kid, and when I was a kid, he was watching the movie to prepare for his role to be in the play at the Kalamazoo Civic.
Right.
And I sat and watched it, and I just fell in freaking love with the music. And so after that, I was like, and Mozart is my name. I like the other one. God, Mozart, crying out loud.
Yep.
A lot of times that's awesome. Even Reiki music, I put like on the Reiki station. To the Reiki music or yoga music will help you calm right down if you're having a problem with anything like that. It'll just put right into it.
Even just taking a nice bath, just bring you some, put some lavender oil, or just light some candles and just relax. I mean, that takes a lot of the stress out too. If you're feeling all shaky and weird,
Put some salt in there. Stick a rose quartz in your bathtub.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. There you go.
Adam's like,
He's like, I ain't
I don't do
doing
the
that.
bath, I'm kind of a shower guy, I just kind of want to get it over with,
Most
15,
men
20 minutes,
are.
but,
Yeah.
I, get- well,
You do a foot
I mean,
bath. There you go. Do a foot bath. Same
But
thing.
you
I
can,
could, yeah. I mean,
You
yeah,
can- you could
Go ahead.
always imagine that rainbow energy coming down when you're taking a shower and
True.
just clear everything that way.
Yeah,
the water is, doing that
Clearing.
motion. So, I mean, it is, kind of has that rainbow effect.
Yeah.
And like you guys were talking about earlier, actually stepping outside, throwing a bathing suit on if you have to, going in your backyard when it's raining really hard is amazing. It is amazing. That's a very cleansing type of thing to do, just to walk out there for a sec, especially in the summer.
Well, even just
Yeah.
breathing, because when you're stressed, you forget to breathe. So I mean,
Very
just
true.
take a deep breath.
Very
Yeah.
true.
no
You
matter
know what
how-
I would do? This is one thing I would do is I would just imagine when I was in a really stressful work environment, I would just imagine just bringing in that white light and then breathing it in. And then I would just imagine every time I exhaled, I was exhaling all this black, yucky gunk out. And that works amazingly because that's literally like doing your own energy work. And I would just sit there and
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's like sticking your finger in a light bulb. All of a sudden, you got
I
that Christ energy coming down.
yes. But there's a
And I'm
lot of
always
different ways.
You can always tell when I just got done meditating. I'll come walking out, and my husband's looking at me like, "Get away from me with that weird smile."
Like that.
We go in to hug him. He's backing up. Get away.
What? I just feel amazing.
I know. I want you to be amazing too.
Or
Come here,
Think
come
that-
here, baby. Give me a hug.
Yes. Kathy,
I was gonna say you can get frisky with the one you love too. That's gonna raise your vibration.
Oh, that,
yeah,
you
for
know
sure.
What? I'll tell you what, and you don't even have to do it with the one you love. Just saying. It is amazing. And I learned, well, I'm not even gonna go. Shh. It's a very good release of energy.
Yes.
There you go.
And
Yes.
do I tell the story? No, don't tell. Do I tell the story?
Oh, just tell it. I think it'll be fun.
Okay, so
She's already told us about the toilet, so
Inquiring minds want to know. Jen.
it's really weird, but that's why I like the story. But just go with me on this. So a lot of you know that I see weird shit in my bedroom. It's just how beings and entities will communicate with me. And so one night, whenever there's something there that has a message, I wake up because it's sort of like, wake up, we got to tell you something. So I'll wake up and I sat up, and to my left was a glowing toilet. To my right was a golden, like it looked like a golden tube or a golden staff, but it looked like a limp noodle. And then it went bing. And I'm like, what? Like, what are you trying to tell me with that? What? So naturally I called my best friend because I can't ever hear anything. And I just woke up. So I'm like, what? So I'm texting her. So she says, that's their way of saying you need to have an orgasm so you can release some energy. And I was like, oh, I would never have gotten that from a symbol they use. So that was their way of saying that, an orgasm is a really good way of releasing energies that are stuck and need to get out. So, ta-da! There you go. There's the story.
Oh my gosh. What are you going to tell us next?
I know. I've got some of the weirdest friggin' stories.
Yes, you do.
And I also tend to give TMI. So I'll come up with something. Just give me a minute.
Oh,
Good
geez.
Good job.
All right, I'll give you a minute. Oh my gosh.
Adam, are you happy you came on with us?
I am. I mean, what better way to spend my Monday evening with a bunch of amazing spiritual people? I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
This reminds me of your conversation on, what day was it, last Tuesday? And you guys were talking about the mating sounds of snapping turtles. Not mating
Oh my
call,
God.
everyone.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
the mating sounds.
Yes. Yeah.
he's gonna have so much fun on our show because that's going right down the weird crap that we talk about.
Whether it's in the beginning or towards the end, it just depends on where we deem it goes off the rails. And when it goes off the rails, yes, everything starts kind of flying. I mean, that's when, it's like, okay, the alcohol's finally kicked in and, everybody's feeling good, at this point. And now we're sharing everything. I know, but
I don't need help with that. I'm weird enough as it is.
But it's the theory that, it's the effect of it.
I was in a dead sleep the other night and I turned around and I grabbed my husband's shirt and I go, we have to go. And then I turned around and I'm sitting on the bed and I'm going to get up to go somewhere. And then all of a sudden my consciousness came back in and I went, he goes, what are you doing? And I go, I don't know. And I went back to sleep and he goes, God, what else are you going to do? And I still don't know what in the heck I was talking about. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
We gotta go.
Yeah, I don't know where we had to go to.
It would have been
We used to
interesting.
do that when oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, it would have been interesting if you could have found out then where you were gonna go, because was it something just to get out of the house? Were you running away from something, or you just needed to do something together?
He said it was scary that I never sound that stern, and he had no idea what I was talking about. And I
like a panic thing.
So weird.
Her voice changes. We gotta go. You sounded demonic. Oh my God.
Sounds like the death metal music where they're
it was just really confident, like I knew what I was talking about and it was time to go. I don't know.
Bonnie, I used to do that. I worked third shift at the hospital for 1 year, and I would get up about 11:30, 12, and I'd go, oh, I gotta go. I'd go to the bathroom and I'd be like, I'd brush my hair. I looked like crap. Brushed my hair and I'd be like, try to put a ponytail in it or something. And I'd catch myself over and over starting to get in the car to drive somewhere.
Oh my gosh.
And I'd be like,
I didn't
go, wait a minute, where am I going?
But you know what? My husband goes, he went outside to smoke a cigarette and he goes, I'm gonna wait till she's really sleeping before I go back in there.
For safety's sake, I think that's a good idea.
I still don't know where we were going. Whatever it was, he didn't have a choice. He had to go.
Right.
We have to go. That's good.
Oh my gosh. But he said you're always blubbering in your sleep and talking to somebody. He goes, but you never turned to me and grabbed my shirt before. That was crazy.
You didn't mean
because my guides are always talking to me.
Now you mean business.
Yeah, my guides are always saying something and I'm talking back to him and stuff, and he's used to that. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Crazy times.
Adam, do you wanna tell everybody how to get a hold of you?
Yeah, I mean I still don't yet, and I probably won't this year, but yeah, I mean really the best way to get me is just go to the Facebook page, Adam the Black Swamp Medium. That's where most of my information is, and where you guys can reach out and send me a message there. I'm got a few things. I mean, I do want to get a website at some point. I thought maybe it was going to be this year, but there's a lot of changes. So I figure I wasn't going to spend all the money just yet to get that all fixed up. So I thought, well, I'll hold up a little bit more. And so maybe next year we'll see, but eventually there will be that. But that is the best way to hit me. If you want to see, I do have the music page, Adam Hawkins. That's just it. So if you want to follow that, I don't post a ton there just because there's not a lot going on. So but I once in a while I chime in and things like that. And then other than that, if you guys, I don't accept everybody through my personal Facebook page. Just because it's like I got to the point where I was letting everybody in, and then it's like now I realize it's like I wanted it to be for specific things. I know it's always great to be on the personal page, but it's bad enough that with all the family and friends, there's certain things I don't get to talk about because then I get all kinds of flack behind the scenes, from people, and it's like, why do you say this? Why do you believe it? I'm like, oh my God, it's my page. I'm doing whatever I want, But So I try to, the personal page really, it's just, I try to keep things positive, just like I do on my other stuff. But the personal page, I just don't put a ton of things up there because I mean, you and Jen are on there and you're not seeing a whole lot. You might see me doing like some of the fun little things, but that's it. It's just going to be fun stuff. I'm not going to get deep into weird things and stuff. But yeah, all the Adam the Black Swamp medium's the best one when it comes to readings, healings, that kind of thing. I try to post up at least once a week, with some type of, whether it's something I'm going through or something I, hearing about, and I try to, show the spin of how to, turn it into positive. Because obviously with a lot of negativity, it's, it drains everybody. And I don't want to do that. I want to kind of try to always bring people up. Sure, I have my bad days just like everybody else. But for the most part, I mean, I try to, be a little helpful to everybody, even in a I guess, like I said, I do like a blog kind of thing is what my posts are at times, where it could be real short or it could be really long. So you never know what I'm going to say. But
yeah.
Well,
Yep.
So you're,
we'll put your link in the comments too for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Please.
So your healings, I was going to ask you, are your healings more like on the shamanic side then?
Yes. Yeah. And the cool thing is, because I watch your show, as much as I can. And, you guys do a lot of you do Reiki. And what's great is the version I do is so similar that there's just so minor differences that really it's just on the setup. And so the whole interaction with energy and everything is almost identical. And the school that I learned it from, which was that Midwest Native Skills out of Cleveland, he also teaches Reiki. He doesn't do it doesn't get a lot of people for that one. But that was neat when we took the shamanic class. He actually showed us how there really wasn't a whole lot of difference between, and I'll say Native American style, healing versus, of the Reiki, the classic Reiki.
I think everybody learns classic Reiki, and then your guides and your angels brings you through whatever way that your filters communicate. So you might be earthly, it might be shamanic, like Kathleen says. Mine's a little bit of everything. It goes in all directions. And I think, Jennifer, yours is kind of a little bit of everything too. I mean, earth.
Yeah, and I didn't start out learning Reiki. Reiki came later because I dug in my heels and was like, I'm not doing it. Nope, not learning it. And Ian was working through me, and I had to read different books to learn what he was doing through me. So I first learned from the angel that I channel. And then when I started channeling Kuan Yin, she was like, frickin' Reiki. And so she guided me to learn Reiki. She doesn't talk like that. She's very sweet and gentle, but I could tell it was like, listen, sweetheart. And only then did I learn Reiki, but I don't even think I was supposed to learn it for the sake of learning how to do it so much as I was just supposed to be attuned because it resonates with her energy.
Yeah. And it opens you up clearly to channel,
Yeah, more.
Easier.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I look at Reiki as more like the glue in between all your other gifts. It sort of just enhances, and then your spirit guides kind of take over and they bring you to the next level. And then it turns into whatever your language is and whatever their language is. And it gets to the point where you don't even know how to describe it. And you just, yeah, that's pretty much where we're all at.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask that, Adam, because I don't think I think I may have asked you that, but I wanted to ask you that in front of everybody, to kind of let them know what kind of type of healing you do. I know what I do is a lot of pulling out of energies or a lot of transmuting energies, pulling out, bringing in, like kind of how I do it. But that's how I always just started. That's how my guides work with me. I think we all just do that, like what Bonnie was saying, and just kind of do what we're guided to.
Mm-hmm.
Divinely, of course, divinely.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was going to say real quick too, I thought it was funny because Jen, you said it a little while ago, but it was probably, I took a shower and stuff like that at 3, and I was just kind of getting ready and drying my hair. And as I was straightening the beard out a little bit, and I'm sitting there putting this hot comb thing through it, and and this happens to me, at the best times, and I thought this makes sense, and I was hoping to share it with you all. Is that I'm sitting there straightening the hair out, so I got the mirror in front of me so I could see what I'm doing a little bit. But right at that point, I watched, a little bit of an angel hair float down in front of me. I went,
oh, That's so cool.
Because there's no, I mean, and I'm in a bathroom that there's nothing else in there. There's no reason to be anything. But it's always amazing how the angels and stuff still show up, and I'll get those messages, and they'll just drop just a little bit in front of me, and I'm like, oh, hey,
Oh,
especially if
you
I'm not
never
paying
get used to
attention.
that. You always
No.
felt that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was kind of neat.
Like,
that was really cool because
I
it's
find,
setting it up for the show.
like, I'll come in here. Well, there is birds all over, but I'll find them in places like in my altar, in the plant laying, like they just laid it there. It's so cool.
Yep.
I just love angels.
The one time, might be neat too, real quick, is that I thought it was so cool. So I found, it was real. It's neat. It's when they do it for me, they're really small. So that way, for whatever reason, it's nothing huge, but they're always small. Well, the one time I thought, I know it's an angel. So I took it and I put it inside of a plastic case. So there was absolutely no way, nothing could get to it. You would have to lift the case up for it to move. The next morning, it was gone. That's when I was like, I mean, not that I needed proof, but I thought that was the coolest thing because it was gone. I couldn't find it. It was not underneath it anymore.
They were like, watch this.
Yep, totally.
I love it when they do that. Watch what
yeah.
he does.
I kind of expected it, but I thought it was neat. And then it was just because then that way I could say, no, they're real. I mean, it doesn't get any more real than that. I mean, for them to go ahead and take it back, I'm like, cool, appreciate it. Whenever I see one, I'm like, cool, thank you.
Yeah.
So it's always a blessing then at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The more you acknowledge that stuff, the more they're like, ooh, what else can we do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look for other ways to let you know it's so cool.
It is.
Wow.
I like the angel tingles.
Yeah.
That's my
Oh
favorite.
yeah.
When you feel you're like, oh.
Or you say you want to get a book. Here's what happened to me. I had a student. I had read a book and I really wanted to buy a book because I had borrowed it from Kathleen, and I gave it back to her. And I thought, oh, I just would love to have a copy of that. And then I had a student go, you know what? I ordered this book and I went to have it go to my, she reads it on her computer. And she goes, and I got a physical book too, and I don't know why, and I know that you'll probably want it. So here, you can have it. And I went, okay, thank you. I'm like, wow. I mean, they just work in mysterious ways. I mean, it's just.
That's so cool. Oh my gosh.
We were talking about, I was praying for my daughter needed a car. Next thing you know, one of our relatives calls up and says, hey, we need to get rid of this car. My husband's a mechanic. Anything's wrong with it, you can have it. We're like, okay. So, I mean, they're always doing something cool like that.
Yeah. Like the butterfly in my hair before we started. That was cool. I know that was my dad though. Not that the butterfly was my dad, but that was from my dad because I was listening to his music and I was thinking about us dancing and I was getting emotional. And so when the butterfly came, I was like, okay, Dad, that's you. That's you. So even loved ones can do that. I just love it.
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
For sure.
Or when they put on one of their favorite songs and you're like, Meyer or something, and you walk in and poof, their favorite song comes on, or one of them, and you're like, thank you. Yep.
You know that song, In the Arms of the Angel?
Yes.
When my dad was sick, whenever he went into the hospital or something happened, it would be on the radio. It'd be somewhere that I'd know he'd be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so now when I hear it to this day, I know he's on the other side and I know he's okay. But, other than the fact that he's always talking to me in my ear, but, I know he's okay though. Yeah. It's just music. They like to use music, like a lot.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's
very much. So I'll turn my music on and it'll come to a specific song and it's some kind of message for sure. Some kind of message in there. And it's random.
Yes.
Yep.
And it's really cool, like with that, Kathy, when you feel inclined, like, I really feel like I need to listen to this. Mm-hmm. And then you listen, whether it's a radio station or a playlist or whatever, and it comes on, you're like, oh, and you kind of go, now I know why I was supposed to listen to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever had the weird phenomena of musical soul food? And what I mean by that, it's a weird experience, and I've had it a few times where I'll hear a song and the message or there's something in it, usually it's some kind of message that my soul needs, and I will listen to it. I need to listen to it ad nauseum. It's the only song I'll play, and it might go for 2 weeks, a month, and I listen to it non-stop. I mean, obviously sleep, but I've had that with a few songs. Have you guys ever had that? And then it's like after you don't need that energy anymore, so you start to not feel like you need to listen to it because you got out of it whatever it was you were supposed to get. You got.
Yeah.
I think that's weird, but that's happened to me a few times.
Yeah, I've gotten to where, I listen to the same thing every morning just to get through when I used to work, just to get, I had like a playlist every morning I listened to, and we're all uplifting songs. It's pretty sad when one of them was Jesus Take the Wheel, because I worked in a factory. It was bad.
Aww.
My mom sent me a song. I remember I was sitting it was one place I was working that I was just really unhappy at. And I remember just sitting there, and it was after she had passed, and the song Compass came on. And who is this? It's a country song, Compass. And it's like, we're right here. I'm right here next to you. Like literally, it was like, she says it over and over. And I was like, I just remember sitting there and just being like, oh. But it was amazing. So every time that song comes on, I know it's my parents sending it to me. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, this is
No, and I would agree. Yeah, I mean, I've had, like when I was talking earlier about some of that, the blended music where it's some ethnic with a little bit of modern, technology and stuff. There's been some of those that, they're done in other languages and things. I don't understand it, but for some reason, like it'll be weeks or something. I haven't heard it in a long time. All of a sudden it's like, you got to play this now. And I'm like, okay, where's my phone? Where, let me start hitting play. And then I'll play it a bunch of times. And I'm like, and then your demeanor, your energy levels, everything just shifts. And it's like, you just feel better for some reason after, whether you understand it for whatever it is, but you end up being like, okay, cool. Thank you.
It's like an energy shift. Like you just need that music, that form of music to shift whatever it is you're shifting,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When I was going to school for a holistic health practitioner, and I had to drive up to Grand Rapids once a week. I mean, granted, I still listen to the song all the time anyway, but it would be playing constantly on repeat on my way to, on my way back, when I would be, working outside. And it was James Blunt's Bonfire Heart. And then it was maybe 2 months, maybe a month after that addiction went away, I got what I call Bonfire Heart. And I called it that because I think the song was trying to say, hey, P.S., you're going to get this super weird, energy in your heart. And it had to do with channeling Ian, because he comes in through the back of my heart. So the energy of my heart has to be cranked up. But now I call that, that energy ball that I was talking about, where it's like that electricity in the heart. Well, add like blazing heat to it, where it feels like your heart chakra is on fire from the inside out. And so thanks to that song, I call it Bonfire Heart. And I think that's why that song, but that I didn't know if that's something that, and I had two other songs that I know what they're telling me, but I won't go into it live.
I'm kind of scared to ask you again.
I'll tell you guys after we're live, but
okay.
But I think I know what it's telling me, but it was just one of those weird things where I'm like, God, I can't get enough. I have to listen to this. It was just weird. And so naturally I'm the only one sitting here having that experience. So I'll just stop talking now.
Yeah, that's okay. No, everybody has their weird, whatever they're going to connect with their guides, learning, mine was writing, automatic writing, and waking up in the middle of the night and having somebody say, write this down. I'm like, who am I talking to? Oh, it's the one you say is you call Jesus. And I'm like, okay. So I mean, we all go through all these weird things that, we don't really talk about because it's weird, but it's about as normal as it is weird if you're going to go through the ascension and go through your go through all it takes to raise your energies in order to master your own energy and to live in that higher atmosphere. So it's just going to get weirder from here, you guys. I mean, I'm just telling you, it's just going to get
And
weirder.
that's why we're here. That's why we're on here, to tell people about what we've been through so that they can go, oh, okay, I'm not so crazy. You know what I mean?
And what we're still going through.
what we're still going through.
Uh-huh.
Exactly.
You
Or
guys,
something around the next corner.
we've been on here for 2 hours. It's 7:02.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm
Time
almost.
flies when you're having fun, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we haven't even had any more comments. I think people were like, and
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're done. We're done. Yeah.
But we have fun, dang it.
Yeah.
Yes.
You'll have to come back, Adam. It was lots of fun.
Sure,
Yes.
I appreciate it. That was awesome. I mean, it was
Yes.
great. It's like when I finally saw you guys were, doing this stuff, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it was the coolest thing. And like, at your event, in March, Kathy, it was, one of those things. I was telling Jen at the same time, like, God, I missed these because like I started off doing a little bit of the holistic style events, and then it's just been all paranormal. So, the way people, I love it all, everything. It's just weird is that, you go to the paranormal stuff, you just don't hear the same things, the wording and stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, I miss all this. Cause like you got Kathy and Jen were talking, I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot about all this stuff. And I'm like, this is so cool, So I'm like in this
Right back in the saddle.
right,
Yeah.
So it's like, but and it's not like I said, I mean, I love the paranormal stuff and the events and things. It's just everything's got a different atmosphere, a different vibe, and a different energy level. But it's always fun to be able to get around people like this and just be able to like, oh, I feel so comfortable. I feel so, I feel like I'm in the right place,
Yeah.
Yes.
Where
Yes.
people know your name.
Right.
Well,
It's part of bringing us back to that tribe. Cause I mean, like I've, a lot of the people we hung out with before we've changed. And so they're like, yeah, whatever,
yeah.
some people aren't, but a lot of people are like, whatever. I don't know what you're talking about. You're crazy, whatever. I've had that a lot. So in that aspect, it's like, okay, well,
I'll go find my other friends.
Yeah.
I'll find my real friends.
yes, where are they? So
They
it's
know I'm
really
not
nice to be able to
crazy.
come together and we will do more physical shows. It's just the stuff's gotta click first.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
we will.
All right.
Yeah.
So
We will.
so let's where'd you go, Jen? Are we saying goodbye?
Yeah.
Bye.
All right.
We're
So
saying goodbye. We wanted to have your pretty face on there before we
Yes.
went off.
I appreciate you not ditching me. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll be
You're
fun.
welcome.
Hang out.
All
She's
right.
all there by herself.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, Adam.
Thank you,
I
Adam.
appreciate
Thanks,
it, guys.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye,
You're all
everyone.
amazing.
Bye-bye. You too. Oops.